Perspectives this morning on Invicta 98.9. And this morning, we're doing a long distance call to Owerri in Imo State, where I'd be talking with a media consultant, a public affairs analyst, and a commentator on national and international matters. My guest this morning by phone is Chief Fidel Onyeneke. Chief Fidel Onyeneke, good morning and glad to have you on our show.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. It's a pleasure being with you this morning.
This program focus would be on the southeast and the agitations that are coming from the southeast. Now, these agitations have come up in a way that is creating worries, so to say, all over the country. And this is about IPOB and the violent, process that we're getting from this group. Now, agitations are, all part of what we get in democracy. But when it turns violent and when it turns on government too, then one would be asking just what sort of, protests are we getting or agitations that we're getting. And so for you, Chief Fidel Onyeneke, IPOB on the southeast coast, what are your takes on this?
Well, first of all, agitation is not alien. It's not new to democracy.
Yes.
And under any democratic dispensation, people are ways of people expressing their feelings and their opinions. It could be agitations, it could be through issue statements, it could be through marching on the street, and so on and so forth. All these are to draw the attention of the government to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. And what is happening in the southeast now is not in any way different. I know very well that once you are agitating, provided it is not violent, provided you are not using it to cause mayhem, provided you are not using it to destabilize the system or the country, then it is allowed, and it should be allowed in democracy. As far as I'm concerned, IPOB and other people who are agitating in the southeast are simply telling the government that there are issues that affect the southeast that needs to be addressed urgently. And bear in mind, these issues include marginalization, include when appointments are given to different parts of the country without considering those from the southeast. In other words, when there is no equity. It also includes lack of justice, when there is no justice, when a group of people feel that what affects them is not treated as expected, and there is selective in whatever the government is doing. Then such people, all these things some of them are mere allegations, but that can only be proven when the government gives attention to the people who are agitating, find out why they are agitating, and so on. Now, on the issue of IPOB, yes, decided to make a statement on behalf of the Southeast because they feel that this Southeast is being marginalized. And there is nothing wrong whatsoever for any group of persons to feel that the way they are feeling and then express their opinion.
Just to quickly put in on that, do they have the mandate of, the people of the Southeast on these agitations that are going violent?
Yes, I was really coming to that. Yes. Unfortunately, the federal government declared IPOB as a terrorist organization, despite of the fact that there was no clear evidence of violence on their part in the past, if you follow their antecedents. Because I know very well that there was this organization called MASOB, which is also a movement for the survival of Biafra. Then came IPOB. But we must bear in mind that if you go to the southeast, whether we like it or not, majority of the people, a good percentage of the people, especially youths, are in sympathy with both MASOB and IPOB. That is the truth. And what I'm telling you is just verifiable. There is no point not going to the fundamentals of certain issues, and we make certain assumptions. The truth is that what they are protesting for, what they are agitating for, they have the support of the people. Even the fewer percentage, probably the political class and the elites, may pretend not to be supporting them, while in actual fact they believe in what they are doing because they are doing certain things, carrying out activities that they feel will emancipate the Southeast, that we feel that to reposition the Southeast, that they feel that they will make the Southeast acceptable in the country, because the generality of the Southeasterners feel that they are not being fairly treated in the country called Nigeria. And any agitation that is very peaceful, any agitation that is not violent is acceptable. But unfortunately, we have found ourselves in a country where once you start an agitation, some group of people, be they hoodlums, miscreants, we capitalize on what you are doing and cause mayhem and cause violence. So it becomes a problem to now find out whether those who are leading the agitation are the main cause of the mayhem and violence, because people can take undue advantage of the situation and cause problems. Problem will now be who to blame and who not to blame. And I think that is the situation now in the Southeast.
Yes, Chief, again, what is coming out, again, from the Southeast end is about attacks on institutions, and talking about institutions of government. We hear the state police stations are, razed down, and then INEC offices, burnt, and all of that. These are, institutions of government. And then it comes to a situation where we ask the question, there is a government in these states where this is happening. And so when you have violent agitations against the government in a state, now what do you make out of that?
It is highly regrettable. On no account should somebody attack government facilities. Now look at it this way. You are agitating that you are lacking some facilities, you are lacking some government presence. And then because you are agitating, you now attack government facilities. That is why I said that it is difficult to determine who really carries out this attack. It is the responsibility of our various intelligence agencies to find out whether the originators of the agitators are actually the people who carry out these attacks, or whether miscreants take undue advantage of the situation and carry out mayhem. In the first place, why must somebody attack a police station? If you attack police facilities, who will protect you? Have you attacked the criminals? If you attack police facilities, in spite of no matter the shortcomings of our security agencies, including the police, if they are not there, there will be chaos in the society. You cannot move about. You cannot do anything. Nobody can have protection. So why do you now attack police facilities? And moreover, these are signature projects in your area that when you attack them, the monies of the taxpayers will also be used to rebuild them. So what have you gained? That is why I suspect some miscreants, those who probably have some criminal tendencies, who feel that they can take undue advantage of agitation and the situation to attack these facilities so that their fellow colleagues and so on who are being handled or harassed, or not harassed rather, who are being checkmated by the policemen, we have a free hand. I'm telling you that if you allow police not to be on our roads, not to work, not to carry out their duties, it means that hoodlums will have a free day, criminals will also have a free day, and no society can survive under such a situation. Now, talking about INEC, whether you vote or not, you must be ruled. Why do you now attack INEC facilities? Something that is funded by taxpayers' money, your own money. Now, if you say you don't want the election, there are various ways of presenting your test. And it's not by attacking INEC facilities, even though it is a clear evidence that INEC had made one mistake or the other. Because people want to tell the government, tell the world that, look, we no longer have confidence in INEC. But is it the solution? There are various ways of using dialogue to handle some of these issues. I am saying that I'm totally against the attack on some government facilities, including the prisons and so on. Because for us to have law and order, you are agitating because there is no rule of law. For us to have that rule of law and for us to have order, we must have the security operatives in place. We must have prisons for correctional facilities for those who have made certain mistakes and who have committed certain offenses. And we must have electoral facilities, including INEC offices, for us to have a smooth conduct of the election so that we get it right in terms of electoral activities.
One of the demands that we hear coming out from IPOB is that they do not, want to belong, to the entity called Nigeria, and so they want secession, so to say. And again, if you go back, that's talking about going back to the 67-70 war, and the federal against, on the southeast, and what came out of that war. Regrettable though about the consequences of that war. And again, you look at the age bracket of those demanding, to secede. We're talking about people that were not just there when when we had the war. And again, for their demands now, do they know the gravity of, having a war, or, separating in the violent form that they want? And so these are questions being asked about why this young age bracket would demand, that they want to go out from the entity called Nigeria.
You see, the truth is that you can never achieve anything meaningful through war. For those of us who were old enough to know, during the war, we know that the war is not the best. Because under a war situation, nobody knows whether you are Igbo, you are Yoruba, you are Hausa. A stray bullet does not even appreciate the fact that you are a human being or you are not a human being. So war has never been a solution to some of these problems. And just like you pointed out in this background you gave, most of the people who are calling for war are those who did never witness any war. Probably the youth brackets, the ones they have witnessed are wars, or probably they watch in the television, films, and so on, which does not even portray the reality of war. Now, war comes with hunger. War comes with diseases. War comes with insecurity. War comes with, you wouldn't have a shelter. Education and all the systems, health facilities will go down. They will all be destroyed. So who can be talking of war in a situation where you can never be protected, whether you are old, you are young, and so on? So war is never a solution to some of these things. But I want to tell you that even when IPOB people or any other group tells you that they no longer want to belong to the entity called Nigeria, it is also a statement. It is a pronouncement that's supposed to draw the attention of the government. You will ask a government officials, responsible governments that will ask, why are you saying that you will no longer be here? Then you bring them to a roundtable conference, to a dialogue, and find out why you are saying that you no longer want to belong to Nigeria. And when they raise their issues, point out their problems and so on, you will address them. That is why we have democracy. Any responsible government under a democratic dispensation should be able to listen to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. When people complain, you find out why they are complaining. If these are the things you can solve, you solve them. If they are the things that you will give a long time approach, as a long time, you take as a long term project, you do it. But you convince the people that they should exercise patience. In any case, if they are saying that there is no equitable distribution of facilities, including appointments, this can be addressed. You promise them and you show sincerity in attempts to address such things. If they say that, look, we don't have infrastructural facilities in our area, you tell them the ones you have done and promise them that you will do this and that. So that is why people protest. It's like a father. If you have a child and that child, you comes in, probably a very polite, friendly child, but this day you return and the child starts frowning his or her face, it is your responsibility as the father to call the child. Find out, my son or my daughter, what is your problem? If he or she tells you, you now make promises. Address it if it is something that you can address immediately. Or tell the child, look, I am going to look into this problem. So that is exactly what agitation is all about. That somebody says they want to leave the country does not mean that he has left the country. So it is instead of aggravating the situation, it is your responsibility to invite the person, find out the person's problems with a view to addressing them.
People just say, and this time also talking about analysts, to the situation of Nigeria today, that we see that all may not be well with matters of governance and, of course, issues coming out of the Nigerian state. And for you, taking this conversation to the national space, a scorecard on, 2 years on with the life of this tenure of this administration, what are some of the things that you draw out? Because again, it was a mandate of the people. People went on, to elect their leaders, and they got the leaders they wanted. And so for you, for these 2 years running in this second tenure of this administration, what are you making out of it?
First of all, it's like most Nigerians no longer have that implicit confidence in the leaders. One, people feel that their votes did not count. Remember the electoral system we used. INEC quite all right said that they have done the correct work, but people are not satisfied with how the leaders emerged. And the thing is affecting the leaders because people no longer believe them, what they say, and so on. And then we've had cases of where leaders made promises to Nigerians and such promises were not fulfilled. So that has made most Nigerians not to, again, believe in leaders generally, both at the federal, state, and local government levels. Above all, the local government system has not been working. They've not granted them, they've not given them the certain funds to handle the issues because this is the level of government that is closest to the people, to the masses. You got our rural roads all over the country. You cannot see, you got our rural places all over the country. You cannot see rural roads. They've not opened roads. They've not created a conducive atmosphere for people to carry out their living at the rural areas. Now, talking of insecurity, this government has not done well in terms of checking insecurity. Almost in all parts of this country, people are no longer feel secured. Movement is a problem. Farmers can no longer go to farms and so on. And every day we keep hearing of insurgency in different parts of the country, killings and killings and killings, abduction of children, abduction of adults, destruction of educational facilities, and so on. So these are all problems. There's not putting it well in all these areas. We talk of strikes. You go to health sector, it's on strike, judiciary on strike, educational students on strike. Our students spent many years at home, both at the university level, polytechnic, many months at home, both at the university students and polytechnic students. All these things have made Nigerians become very frustrated. These are the issues that need to be addressed. And there are problems, pockets of problems all over, in Niger Delta, in Southeast, in the Northeast, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the problems that have made Nigerians to appear to lose confidence. And unless they are addressed and addressed appropriately, then the situation cannot be in the interest of the nation.
Let's look at the 10th Assembly. And I'm talking about sharing news that we got now, that the president says that if a bill on restructuring is sent to him, what will be wrong with him to assent to that bill? So the 10th National Assembly, for you, how have they performed so far?
The National Assembly cannot be isolated from the federal government itself, because our federal government comprises the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now, I have emphasized more on the executive, but before I even talk about the National Assembly, let me commend our president, Muhammadu Buhari, for the efforts he's making to ensure that there is local government autonomy. Because by the time we have this local government autonomy, governors will no longer have same control of funds that go to the local government areas. And I want to believe that the monies will be used effectively. Now, talking about the legislature, our legislators in the National Assembly, and even in some states, they feel that they are lost. Most of them are no longer representing the interests of the people. Even if you feel that the people did not vote you, you are there as a representative. So why not carry the people you are representing along? In the first place, how many of our legislators have this veritable link between the government and the governed? Do they hold town hall meetings to feel the pulse of the people they are representing? That is the issue. If they go home, go to their constituency, for those who attempt to go home, do they really meet with the people? Have they even come there to talk of issues that affect their people? Except when it becomes very, very elaborate, when it becomes an issue that is so sensitive that even if they don't talk, people will condemn them. So these are the things. Are they really worried about the situation of the farmers in their rural areas, where some people are agrarians? If it is in the riverine areas, are they really interested in how people are coping with floods, with even with those who are fishermen and so on? So our legislators have not lived up to expectations, and it is really unfortunate, because there are some people who are supposed to check the excesses of the executives. And have they done this very well? Unfortunately, most of our legislators have even are there now as stooges to the executive, and it's not supposed to be so. We have separation of power so that you can check the excesses of the other arm. But unfortunately, our legislators are not doing that. It takes time for a legislator to even condemn a bad thing done by any member of the executive. Collectively, too, the National Assembly has not even performed as Nigerians expect. So these are the major issues. As far if I'm to say, they have not done very well. Their best. They may think that they have done their best, but their best is not good enough for Nigerians.
Well, again, taking it to the states, when you hear that executives of states are turning to emperors now, and I'm talking about the governors too, and then you have an assembly that will just do, hook, line, and sinker the biddings of the executive. Now, where does the fault lie here?
Well, it's another unfortunate situation, because you see, legislators at the state level, they even think that they are boy, so to say, to the governor. Executive is supposed to be operating, and those of you in the legislature should be watching. If the executive is not doing the right thing, you call the governor and call the executive council to order. But they are not doing it. What we have today is a situation where even the speaker of the state house of assembly will go to the governor and will be kneeling down begging the governor. Where the governor can summon the speaker, where even a governor or a commissioner does a wrong thing, the speaker cannot have the powers, or the legislature cannot have the power to even summon them. Not even power, the courage, because the powers are there as provided in the Constitution. But can they implement it? No, because they are all committed. It's either that the executive members, including the governors, participated in even giving them the ticket at the party level before they emerge as legislators. So when they now go there, they now feel that this is my organ, my hands are tied. It's not supposed to be so. If you are a representative of a state constituency, the other was a local government, and you feel that your hands are tied, it means that you have tied the hands of the whole of your constituents. You have tied the hands of all the people in that local government area. And the one person cannot continue to undo his paper. So why are you there? That is the problem. So they have not performed well.
The program is Perspectives, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And this morning, we're looking at violent protests, so to say, especially focus on IPOD. We would want, to secede from the Nigerian entity. And having with us this morning by phone, Chief Fidel Oyeneke, a long-distance call to Owerri, is a media consultant and a public affairs analyst. We'll come back after this commercial break. Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And this morning, we're doing a conversation on the IPOB group, that wants to secede from the entity called Nigeria. And again, issues coming out of the Nigerian state. And sharing thoughts with us on this, I have with me a long-distance call to Chief Fidel Oyeneke, who is in Owerri in Imo State. He's a media consultant and a public affairs analyst. Well, Chief, yes. Again, what is also coming up now on the matters of insecurity that we talked about, saying that we get it now, that the federal government is saying that state executives must, also take charge of security in their states. And that has drawn, varied opinions. People who say that is the federal government shirking away from its responsibility of being, the one to really go on, take on matters of security in the country. And again, looking at the position of the executives of the states, that what powers do they have? They do not have command over the apparatus of security. Wrong here. Who's checking away from her responsibilities on matters of insecurity in the country?
Now, the federal government, first of all, should not be in a hurry to shy away from its responsibility in terms of securing the people. Because the high command of both the military, the police, and so on, they take orders and instruction from the commander-in-chief, who is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So now saying that the states should take charge and so on. Yes, we know that state governors are the chief security officers of their various states, but they don't have the powers. They don't have the authority to even command the police commissioner, even civil defense or whoever at the state level to take certain actions. So it is a problem. If the federal government wants it to work, then there must be an immediate instruction, whether it's coming by an order, executive order, or whatever, directing the National Assembly to give approval to this effect, that governors should now give command to police, to army, and so on at their state level so that they can act. Because we don't even have state police. And I know those who were arguing for state police had this type of thing in mind. In as much as I don't feel that we are right for state police, There must be a situation where federal government can do something so that governors can give directives and they are taken. But above all, state governors should not be helpless. They should organize vigilante groups and so on who are scattered in different parts of the local government areas. Bring them together so that at least they can give instruction to them through the local government areas. But that of the police, that of the army, except the federal government does the needful by looking for a way of empowering the governors to give instruction to this level of security agencies and they obey such instructions, it will not be very right to blame governors for the high level of insecurity in their states and at the state level, because they don't have the powers to address some of these things.
We're talking about a democracy that we're on with, and again, what is showing up with this democracy is that, again, people see some tendencies of dictatorship in a democracy. Now, how acceptable is that, if we go by, what a democracy is all about?
That is why I keep saying that we are not practicing true democracy in this country called Nigeria. Because we copied the presidential system, fellowship, as it is in America, forgetting the fact that what can work in America cannot work in London. What can work in London cannot work in a country called Nigeria. And that brings me to the issue of restructuring and so on. If we have our constitution acceptable to all Nigerians, we restructure certain things. We can even determine the type of government we want. We can take part of the presidential system of government, take also part of the parliamentary system of government, make them, fix them in a way that it will suit what we want in Nigeria for our own democracy to work. A situation where you are copying presidential system of government in total, and it makes some of our leaders, including the president, the governor, local government chairman, makes them lords. It is dictatorial, and it is not proper. Anything that has to do with dictatorship under any democracy dispensation is inimical to the development of the people, to the growth of the society. So we have not really gotten it right. There are still tenants and there are still pockets of dictatorship in some parts of Nigeria, where probably one person says something and he says that he must have his way. You don't even allow the people to have their say, not to talk of having their way. And if an executive member gives an order, and of course mounts pressure on the legislature will definitely, probably as somebody who may not know exactly why he or she is here, accept what the executive has said. And by so doing, you are carrying out detrimental activities to your people. You are not representing your people as expected. Democracy is supposed to be where people will have freedom, no iota of dictatorship. Everything must be as requested by the people who own the power. Remember that power belongs to the people. You are only there representing the people. So it's what the people will tell you to do that you will do. Anything short of this is inimical to the growth of democracy. So the long and short of my submission is that, yes, we have pockets of dictatorship in some parts of this country, even at the national, state, and local government levels, as against pure democracy. So that is why we must fashion our democracy in such a way that it will suit the people. We mustn't copy from a particular country. We can have our own democracy. We can do our things that will work for our people so that everybody will enjoy good governance.
People say that Nigeria is a potpourri of, tongues, tribes, religion, and all of that. And, analysts will say that should come out with the beauty of Nigeria. This mix that we have about the Nigerian situation should have brought out the best in us. But what we see today is suspicion. And we see, distrust, coming out from, the entity called Nigeria. And so for us, again, they place all of it on leadership that has not gone, to represent all. So for you, this suspicion and this distrust that we're having and in the entity, how well can it respond to the yearnings of Nigerians that we want a better country and better governance?
You know that this country, I don't know the exact number of tribes, but we have not less than 400 tribes. And of course, about 400 languages are spoken. But people appear to be interested in only probably the major ones like Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and so on. You forget that there are other tribes. It is the responsibility of the government, if you want to ensure good governance, to identify all these tribes, no matter how minute the tribe is, and make sure that the tribes are represented in the scheme of things and that they are carried along. It is doable. It's a matter of, because they are all, in each state of the federation, we have local government areas. Every local government or chairman or council, they know the various languages and dialects spoken in their locality. So it is the responsibility of the government to identify all these people. Give them a sense of the language. Look, let me tell you, leadership is not something that you just do anyhow. If you want sincere leadership, and Nigeria, if we want to take full advantage of our different tribes and so on, we must ensure that every tribe is given a sense of belonging, that every tribe is recognized in the scheme of things. If you, whatever you do to tribe A must also be done to tribe B. There are various ways you can stratify, use statistically, identify the percentage of each tribe to the other, so that when you are also distributing goods and services, you make sure that even the one that is only 1% also gets something, while the tribe that is probably 40% will also get more, but let it be equitably distributed. That is how to ensure good governance. A situation where you pay attention to only some major tribes, the other ones will be protesting. They will be agitating. Even though today you might say that you are not seeing the agitation, they are grumbling within them. And one day, because society is not static, society is dynamic. One day, some other tribes will grow up to tell you that you have marginalized us over the years, and our own agitation has started. So it is better these things are handled now and solved now before they become too bad for the country.
Okay, taking this conversation to the public arena, let's get audience to be part of it on 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. Hello, good morning.
GM, good morning.
Good morning.
Who is the name? Yeah, I tell you, Hoffman, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Kure by name.
Okay,
yes,
Kure.
sir. Honestly, GM, the man has spoken very well. I don't know where we got it wrong. I keep on asking myself, who did this thing to us in this country? You can't imagine. This administration came with the matter of change, but I've never seen it. Before somebody will say that I'm talking in the mind of that. I've never seen it, either in terms of security or in terms of hardship or in terms of anything. So people have right to protest in as much as they did not destroy anything that belongs to the government. So I see no reason why they are afraid of this restructuring. They should do it. Let everybody have it at the back of his mind when it is his turn. Otherwise, as he says his last word, any other client can come in and rule this country, and they don't have any say. So they should just do the needful, because that's not what they promised us. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
All right, Kure, thank you on that. Right, still with your calls. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Engineer Emmanuel.
I think my guest has spoken very well as in Nigeria. And these are the kind of people who want to come on board. Not the politicians that will say something with this mouth, say the other thing the other way around. It's rather unfortunate the situation we find ourselves. I often make this statement if I have a privilege. If there is fairness, equity, and justice, all these protests will not be. Agitation will not be. But when you choose one region to the other, then you see all these things. Now, just as the guest say, they only call 3 regions, Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba. Are they the only one in this country? Carry everybody along. Those that you are putting at the front banner, they are not giving you what you want. Why don't you choose another person and see if you have this thing? They promised us in 3 months that the issue of insecurity will be things of the past. But today, Mr. Toyaladi, yesterday in Kaduna, 13 or thereabout were adopted. One was killed. How long will this killing continue? Is it not a sign of failure on the part of the government, not able to secure lives and property? For God's sake. Now look at it. Somebody, a cleric now is comparing the bandit with the IPOP. Is it this thing? He said this one's killed, this one destroyed public property. Why this one's adopted? For God's sake, why are cleric people doing comparison? What is bad? That is not it. Then concerning the issue of our economy, for God's sake, Mr. Tony, this is an administration that says they don't believe in subsidy. But you know what I would say? In the previous administration, just proposed 1 naira increment. All of them came out and protested. But today we are buying fuel 170, and none of them are protesting, and they keep paying subsidy, for God's sake, or whatsoever.
Okay.
So where is the fairness? Where is the equity? Where is the justice? And you should not agitate.
Engineer Emmanuel. Okay, we got you on that. We'll take one more and then come back to our guest. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Tony.
Good morning.
I am Luca Adolf, calling from Morabarido.
Okay, Luca.
Yeah, I think anybody that is more than 50 years in Nigeria is a living witness of what is happening in this country. I remember when we were in the primary school, we were told that, in fact, our teachers taught us that there were 4 regions in this country. That's the northern region, the western region, the Middle West region, and the Southeast region. And if you look at these regions, since when democracy came on board, at least almost all these regions have to this country, except one, and that's the Southeast region. Then during our primary school, we were told there were 3 languages in this country, major languages. That's the Hausa, the Yorubas, and the Igbos. I think the Hausas have ruled this country, not only once. The Yorubas have ruled. Then why not the Igbo? You see, it's like some people are being depressed, and some people are being marginalized. At least once you're marginalized, in fact, what do you expect? You expect a reaction. I'm not supporting the reaction of the IPOP, because what they are doing is not proper. But what I want in this country is that we should look inward and do what is needful.
Okay.
Now, this country has been divided into how many geopolitical zones? If you look at these geopolitical zones, a certain geopolitical zone has ruled this country more than any other geopolitical zone. There's another geopolitical zone that has 7 states with more than 10 ministers. Another region has only 5 states. Why 7 here? Why 5 somewhere? So we should look inward and do the needful. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Luca. Okay, Chief Fidel. Okay, you had the callers there.
Yeah, I had them. I want to appreciate the callers because they raised also many fundamental issues. And everything boils down to the fact that if there is equity, especially in distribution of positions and resources, that there will be peace in this country, that this country will make more meaningful development. And as I stated earlier, the major tribes of Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa are not the only tribes in the country. So there is need to use a mechanism, even if it's through national education agencies, to liaise with the local governments and so on, sensitize the people, allow the other tribes to develop so that they can be identified and given positions of responsibility in order to carry them along. And talking about positions, sharing of positions, a situation where there are 6 geopolitical zones and you concentrate power, authority, infrastructural development on 1 or 2 zones at the detriment of the other, it is not acceptable. Now, if you are talking of the presence of the country, Southeast feels that it is their turn now. And I'm very convinced that it is the turn of the Southeast, because if you check the statistics of the leadership, especially in terms of presidency of this country, you see that the Southeast, as presently constituted, is the most disadvantaged because they've not really gotten what they are supposed to get in terms of producing the presidents of this country. And the time to do it is now. Let me tell you, there are certain things that the government needs to do to control and stop these issues of high agitations and marginalization. Because I'm not saying that the government must get everything right, but there are certain levels of things you will do and people will have a sense of belonging. Under an ideal situation now, there must be a deliberate effort by the various political parties, the government and so on, to ensure that we have the president of Southeast extraction. At this particular time, it will douse tensions. It will go a long way in solving the problem of agitation, especially from the Southeast and some other parts. It is doable. It's a matter of having the political will and courage and mounting pressure on their political parties to look into this dispassionately and do the needful. That is one of the ways of solving these problems. And then if you check off appointments, if there are areas you feel that you've concentrated most of these appointments and so on, you reduce some and distribute it effectively. Look for people from other tribes and so on, including the Southeast, and give them appointments that will make everybody feel happy and have a sense of belonging. For the service chiefs, yes, even if it is the prerogative of the president, which is not anyway, there is need to spread our service chiefs in such a way that no state, including the Southeast, will feel that they have been denied access to this position of service chiefs. So these things are the things that must be given priority at this time, because we have gotten a lot of it. If not for the grace of God, what happened in this country in the past 2 months, all these things are capable of derailing the system. But because God is with us, and let us now not play God. Let us appreciate this patience God has given us by making sure that we address all of these issues in the next few days, in the next few weeks, and do the right thing. Persuade the people, assuage them, make the people have that sense of belonging that nobody is maltreating you. But anything short of this will continue to aggravate the situation, which is exactly what we don't want, and will not augur well for this country. Look, whether we like it or not, the 2023 election might be threatened with all this high level of insecurity, where people will say that, look, we are burning INEC, this and so on. Everything is aimed at making sure that there won't be any elections in 2023. So government should be worried. Government should also be worried about the high level of insecurity, kidnapping in schools and so on, which means that the educational system might be thwarted. The educational system might be destroyed. Today we are seeing it in the Northeast. Tomorrow, who knows where it will be? It has extended to some other states of the Federation, and nobody knows the implication. It means that we might happen one day have a situation where the parents will even be afraid to send their children to school, and it will affect the growth of the nation. So these are the problems. That is why I want the government to go back to the drawing board now. Convene appropriate leaders, appropriate meetings, and so on. Have different fora and discuss this issue. Anything we don't discuss between now and the next 2 months and handle it very well, it means that we are now sitting on a keg of gunpowder that is ready to explode. But I pray it will not happen. I still have that confidence that our president, our legislature, the National Assembly, and all well-meaning Nigerians will sit together, find out solutions to all these problems, because before they get out of hand.
Okay, I just squeezed in one call now before we bring the program to a close. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Adikugba is my name.
Okay, Adikugba.
Yes, sir. I have listened to your invested guest. The problem in Nigeria has a solution. I want you to ask him. The democracy, it has two parts. The presidential system and the FMAC system we are using in 1960, which is parliamentary. Which one is better? We have tried the two now. We have discovered that the presidential system is more expensive. What we have been having after the election of Abiola, there's a Yoruba man, Yoruba people used to say that there's problem after the death of Abiola, and that's what we are experiencing now. Now, what we have after that period is election, not election. That's why we don't have a practical democracy. People have taken they have been forced into House of Assembly, National Assembly, and you remember, even when the clear opposition of many issues, like what?
Okay, sorry, Adikugba, we're having, not getting you clear there. But again, I'm sure that we got, the trust of what your call is all about. The parliamentary system and the presidential system of government. We've tasted two. Chief, here we are with the options that we've tried. Which worked, which is working?
I am of the opinion that we should borrow part of the presidential system and then borrow part of the parliamentary system. Let me tell you why I'm saying this. We tried the parliamentary system during Azikiwe, Awolowo, Tafawa Balewa, and so on, and we saw how it worked. However, the only major advantage of that one is that we were able to save costs, because even parliamentarians were going on part-time basis. If you are a school headmaster, if you are a teacher, if you are a broadcaster, and you are elected into the parliament, you just go there, collect only your sitting allowance, and go back to your work. You only attend sittings during the days of sittings. And by so doing, we are saving a lot of costs. We even had a situation where a parliamentarian could be made a minister. And then you are not even paid jumbo salary as a minister. So we were saving a lot of costs during that system. But for the presidential system of government, yes, separation of powers, everything is supposed to be there, which, of course, we are not even enjoying. They are not working very well. But the worst of it is that we are spending a lot of money. Jumbo salaries for our legislators, jumbo salaries for the executives, So much money being spent. Everything goes to governance. It is costing us so much. So my candid opinion is that we can have our own Nigerian system of government, and which means borrowing from the parliamentary system, borrowing from the presidential system, making it to suit our people, have our own legislature. Let me give you an example. National Assembly, we don't have any business having a bicameral National Assembly. We can even have one National Assembly, whatever name we call it, they will be there. We are not supposed to have Senate, have House of Reps. What are they doing? Waste of resources. We have one at that level. Let me tell you too, there is nothing wrong in having 6 vice presidents in this country. This geopolitical zone, we have its own vice president. And they report to a president in Abuja. The president in Abuja will be handling national issues that affect the whole country. And he can always, devolution of power, he can always give instructions and so on to the vice president. And it will trickle down to the local government areas. These are the things that we can sit down and meet. Even if they don't want to accept the report of the confab that was held during Jonathan's issue, they can convoke another confab, or National Assembly can also have another gathering where people will come and make all these suggestions. Let us look for a way of making our things work in Nigeria and not depending on what foreigners are doing.
Chief Fidel Oyeneke, we'd like to thank you so very much for coming on the program with us this morning.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Let us all join hands and make Nigeria work, because we don't have any other country we call our own for now except Nigeria.
And that's the program Perspectives this morning, and we're looking at the state of the nation. And of course, putting in focus IPOB that wants to secede from the entity called Nigeria, and other matters coming out of the Nigerian state. My guest has been Chief Fidel Oyeneke, a media consultant and a public affairs analyst. Long distance call to Owerri in Imo State. We'll come back with Perspectives on Monday. I'd like to thank Job for connecting us with you all this morning, and Wisdom for putting us in the pictures. Have a wonderful weekend.